My name's Cherie Lloyd. Welcome to this lecture on research ethics for health informatics. In its simplest form, ethics is our understanding of right and wrong, and we develop our personal ethics from our upbringing, the influence of family and others, and from our experiences and observations. Ethical behaviours are also part of our professional training and obligations as professionals. Research ethics is especially interested in the analysis of ethical issues that are raised when people are involved as participants and subjects in research projects. There are three objectives in research ethics. The first and broadest objective is to protect human participants. The second objective is to ensure that research is conducted in a way that serves the interests of individuals, groups, and/or society as a whole. And finally, the third objective is to examine specific research activities and projects for their ethical soundness, looking at issues such as the management of risk, the protection of confidentiality, and the process of informed consent. And these are all things that we'll cover in this week's course. So in this topic, we will discuss the ethical issues in conducting research in health informatics and identify the processes for conducting ethical research studies in the health informatics sphere. The topic aims to enhance your understanding about research ethics and how this applies to research in the health informatics area. Specifically, in this topic, we'll discuss ethical theories and principles and their implications for practice in health informatics research. We'll look at an overview of professional, legal, and ethical responsibilities and look at some tools to support ethical reasoning in health informatics research. The Declaration of Helsinki is a set of principles relating to human subjects research that was developed by the World Medical Association and originally adopted at Helsinki in 1964. I was in response to some of the medical bioethical issues that emanated out of the Second World War, in particular Hitler's regime. The Declaration has subsequently been revised on a number of occasions, and for those interested, there is a link provided on the course site to the latest information on the Helsinki Declaration. The Declaration is addressed primarily to physicians, but encourages others who are involved in medical research involving human subjects to adopt the principles. So when is ethical approval required for health informatics research projects? Essentially, ethical approval is required for any research that involves data gathering or contact with human populations. Any project that meets this criteria will potentially involve ethical risks and considerations. According to Gray, further ethical risks include research projects that involve vulnerable or disadvantaged groups, such as Indigenous groups, research of sensitive topics, research involving covert observation without participants, or research that involves stress, anxiety, or humiliation amongst participants. A final example of potential ethical risk is any research involving intrusive strategies that people would not normally meet in their lives, for example, extreme physical exercise, or putting people in a situation where you're being administered drugs without informed consent. So what are some of the ethical principles that we need to be considering in health informatics projects? Gray in 2004, in a text on research, noted that ethical principles should ensure that the research avoids harm to participants in the project, ensures informed consent of participants and subjects, respects the privacy of any participants in research projects, and avoids the use of deception. Ethics is an important consideration in health informatics and other research projects. As a health professional, registration and other bodies will usually stipulate ethical behaviours as part of their code of conduct. This extends to all aspects of your work, including research that you may undertake. In the context of this course, ethical reasoning is about your developing critical thinking on ethical matters and ethical dilemmas in health informatics research. And it's important that as you progress through the course, you take time to consider ethical perspectives in the case studies and research articles that you read, discuss, and review. For example, the Australian College of Health Service Managers has a competencies tool which evaluates a number of dimensions of health service managers' competence. One of these looks at health service managers being able to advise on relevant ethical procedures and legal principles for protecting the rights of customers and patients. So let's just look a little closer at what constitutes ethical research. In Australia, research that involves human participants must, as a general rule, apply for approval from the ethics review body within their organisation before any research can commence. Universities and healthcare organisations all have well-established processes and governance for ethical review, and to ensure that participants such as patients and others are informed and consent to participate in the project. Each organisation has their own research and ethical processes and policy, and it's important that health researchers understand their obligations to conduct ethical research. Griffith University, for example, has a comprehensive policy concerning ethics in research. There are lots of resources on the Griffith Research webpage, and I urge you to have a look at those. The National Health and Medical Research Council is Australia's leading expert body promoting the development and maintenance of public and individual health standards in research. The NH and MRC brings together within a single national organisation the functions of research funding and can provide advice on research. One of the strengths of this body is that it draws upon the resources of all components of the health systems, from government, medical practitioners, allied health professionals, nurses, researchers, teaching and research institutions and bodies, managers, service administrators, public and private program managers, social health researchers and consumers. But are some projects exempted from ethical approval processes? The National Statement on Ethical Research notes that exemptions for research may be granted for projects that are using existing data or record collections that contain non-identifiable data about human beings and are of negligible risk. So if your research meets this criteria, then you may need to apply for an exemption. Negligible risk research is that where there is no foreseeable risk of discomfort or harm, any foreseeable risk is no more than an inconvenience. Examples of inconvenience may include filling in a form or giving up time to participate in a research. But if in doubt, contact your research officer or ethical government department. Generally, quality assurance projects and evaluation activities involve negligible risk. However, some quality assurance projects and evaluations may require an ethical review. The National Health and Medical Research Council has provided guidance on ethical considerations and quality assurance and activities. They don't want to discourage organisations from carrying out routine quality assurance and evaluation activities. They provide a definition for quality assurance activities. And quality assurance activities are those where the primary purpose is to monitor or improve the quality of service delivered by an individual or organisation. Terms such as peer review, quality assurance, quality improvement, quality studies and audit are often used interchangeably. Evaluation activities, on the other hand, the National Health and Medical Research Council states, generally encompass the systematic collection and analysis of information to make judgments, usually about the effectiveness, efficiency and or appropriateness of an activity. And the term is used in a very broad sense to refer to any set of procedures, activities, resources, policies and or strategies designed to achieve a common goal or objective. Now, quality assurance and evaluation activities may be exempted from the full ethical process, but usually your organisation will still require a form to be completed to ensure that the project is of low and negligible risk and is a quality assurance and or evaluation activity. Griffith strongly supports the view that the degree to which research adheres to the principles of responsible and ethical design and conduct is an important measure of the quality of that research work. Rather than just being a matter of compliance with regulatory and professional standards, the Griffith Research Office states that research ethics and integrity should be regarded as key elements for the design, conduct and reporting of the results of research. The website states that this is a response to the valid expectations of the wider community, which directly or indirectly fund and support research activities, and responsibilities to human and animal participants in work, professions, academia and the wider community who rely on the accuracy of Griffith researchers' work. This slide shows some examples of where approval may be required or may not be required. The best advice is, though, to check with your research integrity officers or ethics office or governance bodies. So if you're analysing public documents such as government publications, Commission of Inquiry reports, newspapers and websites, court cases and transcripts, you may not need to conduct a full ethical application. However, if you're looking at social media messages posted by individual users or evaluation of web searching patterns, you may need to conduct a full ethical approval process. Ethical research will ensure that informed consent from subjects is obtained, there is a respect for privacy of subjects and participants, that confidentiality is assured, and that the anonymity of data is protected. Researchers also need to consider what is permissible to ask subjects, and that there is no harm to the researchers or subjects involved when the research project is being conducted. There is no deceit or lying in the course of the research process, and to consider the consequences of publication. The Research Integrity website at Griffith University includes links to the Australian Code, the Griffith University Code for Conducting Research, a list of research integrity advisors, and a number of valuable research integrity resource sheets that can all be used as valuable resources for beginner researchers in the health informatics field. So it's important for beginner researchers to create a checklist to ensure that their research design, methods and approach are ethical. This list shows some of the items that health informatics researchers may need to consider. Privacy, that the right not to participate and withdraw at any time is given to participants, that a risk assessment is undertaken to ensure that participants are not put under stress, that no harm will be done, that confidentiality and anonymity of data is ensured, that relevant advice from research experts is sought, for example, the valuable resources that are available at Griffith University. Most organisations within healthcare have research officers and ethics officers that can advise, that no harm to researchers or subjects occurs. So let's now look at examples of health informatics research topics. If researchers were to examine the impact of technology in the workplace, they may need to run focus groups or survey individuals at length, depending on the kind of questions that were being asked and other issues, ethical clearances may be required. Other research examples in the health informatics field are listed in this slide, and each will be evaluated on their merits depending on the research question, the involvement of research subjects, the methods used, and do contact ethics officers and governance departments in your healthcare organisation if you're unsure if the project is a quality assurance, evaluation activity or a project that requires full ethical clearance. Ethics is a crucial part of any health informatics research. Use your research officers and other research governance bodies to assist you. Central to the principles of research are that we should ensure that no harm to participants occurs, that we obtain informed consent, we respect the privacy of participants and avoid deception. Institutions will expect their researchers to complete a proposal or ethical protocol, and an ethical body or review board will evaluate these on their merits and ensure that they adhere to ethical principles. As Gray in 2014 noted, any research involving the study of human participants and or their personal identifiable information can involve ethical considerations.